As we all know in general, that skills are more important than certificates or having degrees. But recently I read a thing about this. It is an example of gun and a bullet. A gun and a bullet can together kill the enemy. But without a gun, a bullet is of no use. But without a bullet, a gun can at least produce fear in the enemy. So I think that the metaphor of degree should be given to the gun. That the gun is synonymous to degrees that we are having. That at least with the degree or the certificate, we can at least land a decent job. Whereas only having skills will not give you that particular platform or the minimum requirement that a person aspires from so that he doesn't hit rock bottom. What are your views on this?
Yeah, Ruchita, as you said that the degree is important, I'll say that the degree is just an entry point to the person. Whereas only with the degree certificate, one cannot sustain in a job. So to sustain in a job, knowledge is more important than the degree certificate.
Okay, but in order to enter that particular industry, we require a door, and this degree is actually providing that door. So that we'll go over there, we'll go to the interview, and then we'll get shortlisted. That's what the recruiters are looking for.
But the door, we have to create the door. For example, if we take our leaders and the inventors, I think so none of them were graduate or a degree holder. Most I can't say that none of them, but most of them are not a degree holders. They are they had invented the things only with their knowledge and the experimental setup. So the knowledge plays the major role here, right?
Abhishek, not everyone wants to become a leader. People before entering the corporate industry, what they are looking is that a decent job, a minimum requirement so that they can sustain in that particular industry, and then they think about development. And what drives people? It's not the excitement of winning, the fear of losing. They don't want to hit the rock bottom. They don't want to take risks. And that's what a degree provides you, a minimum basic requirement to give you a decent job.
But our developmental goal should be not getting the job. It should be like creating the job. We have to create the job offers, and we have to provide to lot of people, and we should not stick on to other people like depending on them, and we should not depend on others itself. We have to live independently.
Okay, what you are saying is our development goals should be. So that is what we are aspiring for our near future. But what is the current scenario? That the current scenario is that there's a lot of population, unemployment is increasing, also a lot of competition out in the corporate industry. So a degree and a certificate is the minimum requirement that everyone needs to have. And therefore, even if you have skills, no one is going to test your skills in that particular interview. A degree and a certificate is the must of today's generation.
Yeah, for as you said, the employment plays a major role. Is that because, as I said before, once a person without knowledge cannot sustain in a job, so the unemployment begins here. For example, I read a comic saying that if in the ancient days, that is in 1980s, if you ask a person that where is the graduates or the engineer person's house, if you ask, they'll say that the third house in that fourth street, they'll say that. But years passed, after some years in 1990s, all those periods, if you ask where is the graduate or engineers person's house, they'll say that in a street itself many engineers are there. So can you say the specific street please? They'll ask like that. And if you ask that the recent years, that is by 2020, if you ask that where is the engineer's house, they'll say that the engineers doesn't have a proper shelter itself. Like that, nowadays the youngsters and the unemployment plays like milk and the lime. Most of the youngsters are like unemployed in nature. It is because due to the lack of knowledge in them. I think so. All were degree holders, right? But without the knowledge, they cannot sustain in a job.
Okay, so what you are saying is actually correct. There is growing amount of unemployment, but there is also growing amount of competition around us. So, in order to sustain that, it is not always that only the uneducated or people not having knowledge are the ones who are unemployed. Even the educated who are like masters in a particular field don't get a job. just because they don't get a particular place to stand where they could, express their knowledge. So whatever a degree is, degree or certificate provides you is a place to stand there and then tell them that yes, I have this skills, I have those all the other skills, but at least a degree will give you a place to stand over there.
Yes, that is also a right point. But for example, let us take one thing. We both are pursuing our graduation. We have both theory subjects and also the laboratory subjects. If you enter an industry and if you see those machines, I'll say that definitely your laboratory skills, that is what knowledge you gain from your laboratory classes, will influence your mind than when we compare to the theoretical knowledge. So the skills that requires more to sustain in a job in an industry, I think so that is a major role to sustain.
You know, Abhishek, the point you said that yes, laboratory skills and theoretical knowledge both are important, but that's what a certificate assures that yes, this particular person has those skills, required amount of skills for this job. These days, we see that webinars are going on around us, and only those webinars which provide you a certificate, only those get a maximum amount of audience. The webinars which don't give a certificate, they don't get the support or motivation from the audience.
Yes, Ruchita, your statement is absolutely correct, but that depends upon the person, right? If, for example, I'm and you are attending the webinar, I'm attending for the sake of certificate, whereas you are attending for the sake of knowledge. Definitely, I would mute the call and I'll move away. If you are attending for knowledge, you will sit and listen to the webinar, right? So it entirely depends upon the person. So nowadays the people are thinking that knowledge is more important than the certificates. So that only the government had also organizing many competitions like Skills of India and many other competition in all the genres, not only in food technology, whereas in mechanical, aeronautical, and civil engineering, all the genres they are conducting more competitions. So we can conclude by saying our priority has to be like attaining knowledge by means of degree. So both has to be treated equally. Both the knowledge and the certificate has to be treated equally. Yes, Ruchita, are you agreeing this point?
Okay, whatever you said, it is absolutely correct. That's what we should be aspiring for the coming future, and that's how we are going to develop. Otherwise, we'll always be stuck in that same point and the same current scenarios. Yes, absolutely. We should have knowledge along with skills and certificate, of course.